This morning, all eyes are on the Republican National Convention as former President Donald Trump is expected to attend his first public engagement since the attempted assassination on Saturday.
The Republican National Convention starts today in Milwaukee. Security, of course, on high alert after this weekend's attack. Over the past 48 hours, we've learned that a 20-year-old man from Pennsylvania opened fire on the rally from a rooftop. He was killed by the U.S. Secret Service just moments later. One audience member was also killed during the shooting, and two others were injured. Former President Trump said on social media that a bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear, but he is expected to be okay.
President Joe Biden addressed the nation from the White House last night, saying that he has talked to Trump following the assassination attempt and wished him well. President Biden also is ordering an independent investigation into why many law enforcement are calling a colossal breakdown and profound security failure. Now he is calling on all Americans to lower the temperature in the country's politics and rhetoric.
It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements. The stakes in this election are enormously high. I've said it many times that the choice in this election we make in this election is going to shape the future of America and the world for decades to come.
There are several questions that have yet to be answered in regards to how the shooting was able to happen in the first place. Investigators say the shooter stationed on top that rooftop was only 150 yards away from the stage when former President Trump was speaking.
He was armed with a semi-automatic rifle registered to his father. Yesterday, we learned police also found explosive materials inside his car and home. Homeland Security is looking into how this happened and who failed to secure that rooftop. So a case like this will take months, if not longer, to find answers, according to former U.S. Attorney Troy Ide. He investigated an assassination plot that never unfolded against then-Senator Barack Obama. He was in Denver for the DNC back in 2008.
9 News reporter Courtney Yoon is joining us now. And Courtney, there is a long road ahead for this investigation. I mean, it's just getting started.
Yeah, that's right, Anusha and Mark. Former U.S. Attorney Troy Ide believes hundreds, if not thousands, of interviews will need to be done by federal agents after the attempted assassination of former President Trump. Ide has been in the middle of many important investigations as the former U.S. Attorney here in Colorado. In 2008, he led the investigation into the unfounded assassination plot of then-Senator Barack Obama. Months were spent investigating that case, and he thinks this one could take even longer. Ide says this case is interesting because it seems to be a merger of school shootings as we've come to understand them. Classmates and neighbors of the suspected shooter say he was quiet and somewhat of a misfit, according to interviews done by CNN. Ide says we've done a poor job dealing with young people who are alienated, and this is yet another example of why more mental health resources are needed.
There is a certain risk that our public officials face and that public people face. That's part of why I think we need to be smarter as a society. We need to think more about how do we identify threats earlier in people's lives and try to get them help and protect the rest of the society.
A lot of questions still remain, including how did the suspected shooter have a line of sight to the president? Ide also mentions that security clearance is not as nearly comprehensive for something like a campaign rally versus a national convention like the RNC is starting today in Milwaukee. Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
The investigation just beginning. Courtney, thank you. The Secret Service says it won't be making any changes to the security plan for the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Former President Trump is attending and is expected to announce his vice presidential pick this week. He will, of course, also accept the Republican nomination for president in just a couple of days. He touched down in Milwaukee last night. Tens of thousands of people are traveling to the convention to support the former president. We will have to see, obviously, how things play out to fully understand just the impact of the attempted assassination on the campaign as well as on the convention.
Yeah, the RNC every 4 years is actually not always scheduled over the same week, but this is not the first time something has happened right before the convention that required a lot of flexibility. In 2008 in St. Paul, Minnesota, the first day of the RNC was more or less canceled because of Hurricane Gustav making landfall. The next RNC in 2012 in Tampa, Florida, also saw the first day canceled because of Hurricane Isaac. The 2016 RNC in Cleveland, in which Donald Trump was nominated for president the first time, was normal normal. And then in 2020, the RNC scheduled for Charlotte did not happen in grand style because of COVID. And then President Trump ended up giving his nomination acceptance speech from the White House. And now today, the RNC is still scheduled to start normally, but not under normal circumstances following the assassination attempt.
We will, of course, continue to follow all of the information about the attempted assassination as well as the RNC. You can learn more on our app, the 9 News app. We'll also learn more about the man who died in that shooting and the history of presidential assassinations ahead, coming up at 6:30.
New this morning, a jet skier is recovering after being rescued from Chatfield State Park. South Metro Fire reported that the jet skier was missing on the water around 10:30 last night. Colorado Parks and Wildlife, West Metro Fire, Jefferson, and Douglas County Sheriff's offices were all helping. Crews located the jet skier a little over an hour later. They were evaluated by medics on scene and then taken to the hospital with minor injuries.
Today, opening statements could begin for the trial of a doctor charged with drugging and sexually assaulting more than a dozen women in Denver. Stephen Matthews was arrested back in March of last year. He's facing more than 51 criminal charges. 13 women are accusing him of drugging them and after meeting them on dating apps. Some claim that Matthews sexually assaulted them while sedated at his Denver home. We spoke with one of the women last year. She didn't share her name, but she was willing to go on camera and tell us why she came forward. Take a listen.
I think I needed to. I grew up here. This is my hometown. I wanted to keep the city that I grew up in safe. And I didn't feel that I was being taken seriously or listened to enough. So I did what I needed to do to be heard. And I'm grateful that as a result, many other women came forward.
Matthews pleaded not guilty to the charges. Jury selection continues at 8:30 this morning in Denver District Court.
Right now, Aurora police are looking for a car and a driver involved in a hit-and-run crash that killed someone over the weekend. Police say this car was last seen heading eastbound on Hamden. The driver hit and killed a person walking at the intersection of East Hamden Avenue and South Uravan Street. This was around 9:30 Saturday morning. Investigators believe it is a mid-90s Pontiac Grand Sedan with no front plate, possible passenger side damage, including a missing side view mirror. If you see this car, you're asked to call 911.
Right now, police in Denver are searching for a 14-year-old boy that they say shot and killed a man on Wednesday. Police believe that Stephen Marquez, who also goes by the name Esco, is armed and dangerous. They say he shot a man who intervened in a disturbance at 29th and Larimer. It's right in the middle of Rhino there. If you know anything, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Denver police knew that some things did need to change in downtown, and now they've got this new plan to cut down on crowds, violence, and shootings when the bars let out. As of this past weekend, it is no longer a free-for-all for anyone grabbing an Uber. Rideshares can only pick up people in designated spots. DPD is focusing on safety in Lodo and the Ballpark District. The department partnered with Uber and Lyft to create designated pickup zones through the apps. So this applies to the area between 18th and 21st Street and Blake and Larimer Street from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m.
We're anticipating fewer bump into fights, which turn into aggravated assaults, which could potentially lead to violent gun crime as well. And so we're hoping that with the disbursement of the crowds, the disbursement of the patrons, the safety will increase.
DPD is planning to have extra officers out there to watch this new plan in action. If you order an Uber or Lyft in the no pickup zone, the app is going to automatically direct you to walk to the pickup location.
One thing to know about the weather for today, it is hot out there, but not quite as hot as it was yesterday. High of 97 for us in Denver. Our daily record of 101 probably safe. So after breaking daily records 2 of the last 3 days, at least today, we probably will not break a daily record. Hey, it starts somewhere. Gusty storms after about 2 p.m. for us, with a better chance for storms north and east of Denver. We do have a better chance for storms tomorrow and on Wednesday. I'll have details on that coming up in my full forecast. Erica?
Chris, thank you so much. Right now, we do finally have eyes on that semi-fire I've been telling you about for most of the morning. So Sky 9 just got up over the area. If you're just joining us, this is on northbound E470. It's between I-70 and the Aurora Highlands exit right around 26th Avenue. As you can see out here, this semi-truck got absolutely torched. It does look like that fire is out. We're just seeing little pockets of smoke still kind of coming up off of the semi-truck. truck out here. Fire crews are still out here blocking 2 lanes of E470 this morning. So we've been reporting the interstate was at a full closure. It does look like now that we have eyes on this, 1 lane is open and moving. Of course, fire crews are still monitoring the area out here. We do not have any word at this time on injuries of the person driving this, if anyone else was involved when this semi caught fire and how it all happened. We are, of course, going to work to learn those details for you and relay that information. But if E470 is your typical the highway that you choose in the morning, just be aware of the delays that we are seeing in this area. Well, of course, again, we're going to put some calls out and try and learn some more information about exactly what happened out here. But for now, only 1 lane open on northbound E470 between I-70 and Aurora Highlands here at 26th Avenue.